I wanted to really play with a sweet potato shochu as well. So I've got Mahoko here from Honkaku Spirits. It's from the Miyazaki Prefecture. It is distilled up to 35%, which is a little bit higher than your usual, 24 to 25% shochu ABV. But it's beautiful. It has a little bit of a bite at the end, but just tasting it on its own, it's it does have that roasted carrot kind of like caramelization flavor to it. It really is. It to me, it's it encompasses earth. It just tastes earthy. You can taste the dirt from the sweet potatoes that were probably still on there when it was distilled, which is a great thing. So I decided to plug this into a classic cocktail called the Tipperary, which classically is Irish whiskey with green chartreuse and vermouth. I selected Mahoko sweet potato imo shochu with yellow chartreuse, a little bit of Laphroaig 10-year to just like a teaspoon of it, just to kind of like bring up those earthen notes to the surface. And I've chosen a robust but dry Amontillado style sherry. And then there's a little bit of a maple honey blend. It's just a 3-to-1 blend of maple syrup to honey, orange blossom honey. And once the cocktail is stirred and served up, martini style, it is the surface of the cocktail is garnished and dotted with lobster oil, which this is Groix Nature brand. Something I found online that I find very fascinating. It does have a weird nuttiness to it, but at the end, it's like, oh yeah, that's lobster. It's pretty cool. So yeah, it's available online at some of your more gourmet grocery online stores. And I also have a house-made red shiso oil, simply made by taking 4 cups of loosely packed red shiso leaves to about a cup of a very neutral style oil. I use sunflower oil for this, and you just throw it in a Vitamix blender and let it blend for about 5 minutes until you start seeing it start smoking. Trust me, I think your Vitamix blender will be okay. But if it breaks, don't blame it on me. I'm sorry. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with a dash of orange bitters, and then just a teaspoon of that maple honey blend. And then a teaspoon of Laphroaig 10. A little goes a long way with this, by the way. You don't want it to be a peat bomb, but 1/4 ounce of yellow chartreuse. A classic Tipperary would probably call for about 3/4 ounce to an ounce of chartreuse. Again, what I mentioned earlier, like you don't want the bitter herbal liqueur to overpower the delicate notes of the shochu, the base spirit. And 1/2 ounce of the style Amontillado Sherry. And the star of the show, we're going to do 2 1/4 ounces of the Mahoko imo shochu. All right. We're going to give it a stir for about 30 rotations, give or take. You want to be careful not to over dilute shochu, but I selected sherry as the fortified wine base for this cocktail because it has those nutty, salty, earthy notes that I think pair really well with imo shochu. And this cocktail I've decided to name Spirit of the Beehive. No particular reason other than it's based off of a Spanish film from the 70s. It's about the imagination of a young girl during the Spanish Civil War who becomes obsessed with the movie Frankenstein, and you should watch it. It's phenomenal. But I figure there's honey 2 ways with the chartreuse and the maple honey, and I think I thought Spirit of the Beehive was a really cool name for it. Just kind of evokes like a certain time and place for some reason to me. So once it's stirred, Just strain it into a chilled Nick and Nora glass, like so. And then as a finishing move, dot the surface, a little bit of this lobster oil. And this kind of creates the that umami effect that I'm a huge fan of with Japanese inspired cocktails. Then the Shiso oil, bright green contrast. So yeah, it's Spirit of the Beehive. It's a martini style cocktail. Hopefully it pulls in some of those martini drinkers, some of those like whiskey, Manhattan drinkers alike. But cheers, everybody.